in the recording, then you can keep your camera off, but thank you. I see David is saying okay. And Karen is going to be facilitating this meeting, so I'll turn it over to her, and just also letting you know there is English and Spanish interpretation available. So choose the channel that you would like to be in at this point, and thanks for being here. So Karen?
Thank you, Alana. So I'm only looking at a few friendly, smiling faces. If anyone wants to put their video on with this small group, I'm sure that would be helpful. And also always great if you can rename yourself to provide any hints about which country you've joined from or which organizational hat you think you're wearing. For those that, again, maybe haven't met me on one of the other International Cooperative Business Education Consortium meetings, I'll just quickly say who I am and then frame up what this subgroup was going to focus on. And then we can go into conversation based on what everyone's interests are in this, since we're a small group. And I think our first meeting is really to figure out if there is a common piece that we have an interest in together. So I'm Karen Miner. I'm with the International Center for Cooperative Management, which is within St. Mary's University in Halifax, Nova Scotia, Canada. We've been busy with our activities in the area of cooperative business education, research, and knowledge mobilization for about 20 years. So this group, as a subgroup within the larger consortium, was to focus on cooperative business education, short courses, and executive education. And I had written something up that Alana sent by email, and I'll just go over that to make sure we're all in the right meeting and we all have the right thoughts around what we're going to focus on. So these courses or programs would generally be understood as being short, hence the name, short courses or executive education. So they might be one day or a few days. They might be a week or maybe a few weeks in duration. Perhaps they might span over a longer period if they were, say, modules that were leading to a professional certification. You may have some different interpretations as well, but that was my short version of what I would say fits in this conversation. They're not academic programs. So we aren't here to talk about getting a degree or a diploma in cooperative business education. That's part of the consortium, but is not part of this subgroup. So think short courses, things that people don't come to do homework and assignments. They might be asked to do a little bit of preparation, but they come to be in a program to learn, to exchange with other people, but it's not as heavy or difficult as we might expect if it were tied to a more formal education program. So I had suggested that for us to have a good conversation about this topic, we do need to figure out where we have overlapping interest. So during this meeting, I would suggest that we share what the specific thing is that we do in this area, not everything that we do, since I do things in lots of other areas of cooperative business education. And, what is the content that your programs in short courses or executive education might offer? Where might we be able to work together? So I hope that we'll find that there's value in sharing what we're doing. For me, the purpose of this subgroup was to help to figure out where we can work together, since a main purpose of the consortium is to show that by getting to know each other, that we could collaborate more together and or at least be elevating the importance of what we're doing in these spaces for the broader co-op sector. So it's not even just about educators collaborating with educators, but sector collaborating with the education side and vice versa. So that was my framing. And let me start by giving one tangible example from our center, and I'll just limit it to one. So again, maybe we can then do a go around and do the same. Sonia Novkovich, who's on this call today as well, she and I just finished a call with another collaborator because next summer in Croatia, we will be running a cooperative law and sustainable development summer school. So this will be a roughly 10-day course focused on cooperative law, and it's in partnership with a few different people and organizations, which again, I think is important. When I think about ICBEC, our consortium, it's about how we work together. So this cooperative law summer school is being framed as a summer school that's offered by the International Center for Cooperative Management at St. Mary's University, but it's being hosted at the University of Pula in Croatia. And the majority of the content expertise is coming from Hagen Henry from Finland. And then we will find other experts and interest to collaborate in. Also, it's linked to a key individual at the International Cooperative Alliance who's experienced these courses before and is helping to advise and show interest, et cetera, et cetera. So I just use that as one example of something we're doing next year, both to let you know that we're doing that, because of course, if you have people that you think should participate in a cooperative law summer school, we will be starting to promote it very soon, but also as an example of a collaborative short course on a specific cooperative business topic. So there, let's do a go around and see what introduction of quickly who you are and an example of a short course or executive education program that you think is relevant or of interest to this international consortium. Again, a reminder that there is translation between Spanish and English. So if you need that, turn it on. Would anyone like to offer to go first? I see David. Yes, great. Go ahead.
Hi, can you hear me? Yes. Okay, cool. Yeah, hello everyone. I'm the coordinator of the Center of Expertise for Cooperative Entrepreneurship at the KU Leuven in Belgium. I was sort of, I joined this meeting by also invitation of Professor Frédéric Dufay's that some of you probably know. Yeah, I see some. And well, I must say that we have a bachelor course and a postgraduate program for executives. We don't really have yet a short course. However, we are in the process of submitting for funding for a new project, which would be very practical oriented research around deep democracy methodologies for cooperatives. And hopefully, if that is approved, we would do research about that, and in the end also come up with a workshop, which could also be a one-day workshop or a couple of days, wherein we sort of want to, in the first place, discover what are the suitable tools within deep democracy and methods that could be used. For example, with participation and decision-making processes. And we would want to pour that into a format of a short course or workshop for all kinds of practitioners to benefit it and use in their practices in meetings to, well, make things a bit smoother and that way, yeah.
Great, that's super to make that link also between perhaps the practical research we might all do and then how we try to put that into applying it through workshops and whatnot. With what you just described, do you see any of that naturally being collaborative with other members of the consortium?
Well, I think we are definitely open for that. We also said from the start that we want to do this also in a collaborative way with cooperatives themselves, with practitioners. Also that we would like attend meetings, also try out a couple of methods, see what the results are. So it will really be in a development phase that we will do together with practitioners. And in the end, I see no problem personally to maybe also do something together here.
Super. Who would like to go next? And we'll just do a go around and then we can figure out what where we want to go from that, but hopefully we'll start to see some dots connect. I can just pick someone. Oh, go ahead.
Nobody. I was gonna wait till the end, but I might as well put my Yurikse hat on for a moment. So I'm Alana Gotts, and Sylvia Manelli is here also from Yurikse, and we're the ones that you hear from the ICBEC Secretariat. But we work at Yurikse. We're a research center in Trento, and we focus on cooperatives and social enterprises and other social economy organizations. Similar to what David said, short courses aren't our primary area, but it is something that we've done in the past and are happy to contribute to. For example, we're in the process of working perhaps with one with Australia, now that we can do a lot of things online. That I know that St. Mary's has been doing it online for a long time, but now the rest of us are jumping on board. And so we have done in the past some executive education here in Italy. It isn't what we're focusing on now as much, but like David said, we also have a number of European projects that, especially in the education realm around cooperatives. And in those projects, there's often a research component and then a piloting or some kind of workshop, training, education component. So that's something that we could think about when preparing future proposals, whether we can make them more collaborative within the ICBEC network. And perhaps even, I know some of them allow you to go beyond the European, some of them are very focused on, European partnerships, but some of them allow you also to go beyond that. So that's an area that I would mention, something we can keep in mind. And just, I guess, I would leave it that we're, Yurikse is definitely open to help provide content that is of our area of expertise into other short courses or executive education or summer schools or whatever. We do every other year the summer school with MS, which is more focused on social enterprises. But yeah, so I don't have a specific example, something that we're working on right now that could be appropriate for collaboration here, but it's definitely something that we have done and could do in the future.
Okay, hi, can I be the next person to speak?
Yes.
Okay, hello everyone. Here in Malaysia, actually it's already 10:16 p.m. Yeah. Okay. My name is Zarina. Yeah. I'm from the Cooperative Institutes of Malaysia. Yeah. I'm from the International and Collaboration Center. I was told by Angkasa, if I'm not if you have heard Miss Azlin, she is the one who told me that there is an online meeting. So according to her, this is the platform for us, since we are the institute on training for the cooperatives, for cooperative society, for the cooperators in Malaysia, where we are the only institute that trains the cooperators. They will come to us at the Cooperative Institute of Malaysia for them to enhance their knowledge on the cooperative educations. We have the short courses and we also have the long courses, but the long courses is more for the for educations on diploma for the diplomas, and also we are looking forwards to on degree courses as well. Yeah, and we also do training, and we also have collaborations with Japan, with Brunei, with Indonesia, with Mauritius. Recently, we have collaborations with Mauritius, particularly on the knowledge-based activities on cooperative subject. So we have a few. We've just signed MOU with Mauritius, particularly on educations of cooperative. Yeah. Okay, that's all from me.
Thank you.
Yeah, welcome.
Who's next? Since I don't know which organizations people are coming from, I just see their name. I will just mention a name. Irzak, did you want to contribute?
Hello. Okay, my name is Irzak Nur Hamid. Okay, from Malaysia. I same with the Madam Zarina Tun. Actually, for my position is about the training officer. Okay, training officer from the CIM, Cooperative Institute of Malaysia. So for in the CIM, only the training center for the Malaysia teach about the cooperation subject. For my center, actually we have the MOU with the Mauritius, and also for the we also have the MOU with the University of Philippines. So during the 2 weeks, okay, during 2 weeks, our center makes the some of the international conference. Philippines is about the more to paper about the cooperation. So this is one part of example for the our science center do international conference, which the MOU from the Philippines and CIM. Thank you.
Super. Carolina, did you want to introduce yourself and go ahead?
Yes, hi everyone. I am in the same position as my colleagues. We don't currently offer short courses at FAVO. We are a college, and we are also a school. But I think that for that matter, the way I see it, it could be an opportunity also for us to have cultural exchange. Not just the subjects are important for us, but the opportunity to connect our students to other students from another part of the world. I don't see the need to have a short course. For example, let me give an example. Now I have a son who is studying in Spain. His college here in Brazil has a partnership with another school in Spain, and he went there to spend 6 months, and when he returns, he can eliminate some subjects. So I think this is is valid for us. It's a type of a model that we maybe could have, because we are in the north part of Brazil. We don't have access to international universities today. So any type of access I grant to my students is valid for them. Currently, we are talking to UK co-ops, and we are studying a program in which our students will interact online. They will present a social problem from Manchester, where they are. And we are going to provide a solution based in cooperative values. And we are going, my students in Brazil will present a social problem, and they are going to present the solution. So it's an exchange of problems, if you may. I think this is interesting too, not just the short courses format. So I propose we do something like that. I don't know if it's possible, but it's just an idea, because I see that many of you don't have short courses, are in the same situation as us. So it's just an idea. I don't know what you think.
Just a quick question. When you mentioned doing something with the UK, is that with the cooperative college, or who are you partnering with?
Yes, I think Ilana maybe know them. Her name is Sarah Aldrich. Yes. So we're still studying, we're talking, but everybody's very excited about the possibility.
And I ask because, again, it's illustrating links within this network as well, because the cooperative college is linked into the ICFEC network. So trying to get those examples. Yes, I mean, there are lots of options of how you might do things that are shorter. And so when I started with a summer school, that's one way you might do it in person. We do things online, doing things collaborating with others. Also, when you said cultural exchanges, it made me think, okay, yes, another thing is where you do study trips, or you go and experience Mondragon or Emilia Romagna or other hot spots in parts of the world. Those are other things that perhaps going forward, there's more opportunity to collaborate when a member of ICFEC might be the host, because there could be reasons to learn more about Brazil or parts of Canada or Finland or other places where there haven't traditionally been as many opportunities for these learning journeys, which couple really nicely with education. They're not tourism. They're a combination of learning about cooperatives, being in a place, and then bringing in the sort of collective intelligence of the types of things that people in this network know. So just again, connecting some dots. So thank you, Carolina. That's super. I'm writing down all these examples. I hope we all are, and then try to connect dots. George, did you want to go? You're kind of black. I can't really see your face. I know you're there.
I'm sorry. I'm in front of a window here. That's what happens. I'm from CBU, Cape Breton University, here in Nova Scotia, Canada. Like in the same place almost where Karen is, 5 hours away. But recently retired, and I have to say that we don't have any short courses on the books as such. We do little stuff here and there, and we do have a heavy summer program for our MBA in community economic development, but we don't have any short courses as such in co-ops. I just connected today just to see if there is any, just to see what's happening in the space. And since I'm still working on a research project. And also I want to hear if anybody was doing micro-credentials, because at CBU, Cape Breton University, we were thinking about doing something with micro-credentials and badges. And I was just wondering if anybody was onto that, just to see what was happening. Thank you. I don't have much else to add today. Thank you.
Thanks, George. Nice to see you. We can see you better now. There's a few people that I can't see their faces, but I see names. Well, Onofre, are you wanting to contribute an example? I know I can see you there.
Doutor Onofre, se o senhor quiser falar, eu traduzo para o senhor. I think he doesn't have a translation, but I can help if he wants.
There are also interpreters that
yes, for Portuguese.
Well, they're able to do Portuguese to English. I don't think anyone's using the Spanish. Correct me if anyone on is using the Spanish, because that can be English.
Doutor Onofre, o senhor está com tradução? Oi, doutor Onofre, o senhor está nos ouvindo? O senhor tem tradução?
Buenos dias.
Tudo bem?
Buenos dias. Poderemos falar em portunhol ou em português
Ah,
e tradução para o espanhol, inglês? Pode ser?
he's asking if he can speak Spanish.
Posso falar em
He can speak.
português?
So if the interpreters can answer Karen's question about whether anybody's using the Spanish channel, I don't think so. Raquel says I can speak Portuguese and okay. Raquel can speak Portuguese in the Spanish channel, but we need the English translation of the Portuguese. No one is using the Spanish channel. So Raquel, can you do Portuguese and Giovanna can do the English? Okay, so I guess we're just switching from Spanish interpretation to Portuguese interpretation because nobody needs the Spanish, correct?
Pode falar português, então, doutor Onofre, que elas vão traduzir. O senhor entendeu qual que é a pergunta?
So everyone can go in the English channel to hear the translation. Thank you so much, interpreters.
Pode falar, doutor Onofre.
Então, eu vou falar em português. E bom dia a todos. Eu tenho alguma referência para fazer sobre o nosso fórum da ACI América. Acho muito importante que vocês ficam sabendo.
Can we
Eu
stop?
vou encaminhar.
1 second. We have 2 people translating into English. Just one person speaking English. It's like an echo.
Posso continuar em português? Ilana, posso continuar falando em português ou quer que eu falo em espanhol?
Pode continuar, doutor Onofre. He can go on, right?
Em português, né?
Português.
Então, eu gostaria depois de passar para a Ilana as conclusões que nós tivemos no fórum recente da ACI América sobre educação. Várias lâminas que vou passar para a Ilana, depois a Ilana passa para o grupo. Acho muito importante que nós participamos em 200 pessoas em torno disso e concluímos que a CI América teremos um comitê educativo dentro da nossa organização da América. Vejo isso muito importante porque estamos com educadores de nível universitário, de nível médio e de nível infantil. Vejo que é muito importante que não só pensamos na educação universitária, também em outros níveis, porque os jovens, as crianças necessitam conhecer o nosso movimento. Então, Ilana, vou encaminhar agora para você. O material está em espanhol, é muito fácil de ler, e essa seria a minha colaboração sobre essa reunião de hoje. Uma segunda coisa que eu penso que é muito importante. Nós precisamos de recursos para que o nosso consórcio internacional ele ande para nós fazermos as nossas reuniões no futuro desse grupo presencial ou no evento. Eu estou aqui buscando recursos em algumas grandes cooperativas, também ligadas ao cooperativismo de crédito, mas ainda não tive uma resposta. Então, eu vou trabalhar nesse sentido para viabilizar um fundo internacional para o nosso consórcio, no futuro. E vejo que eu tenho bastante relacionamento e eu gostaria que todos aqui participassem, levassem às suas cooperativas essa ideia de um fundo internacional para que possamos, no futuro, fazer os nossos fóruns presenciais. Seriam essas duas manifestações que eu tenho. Bom dia a todos e já estou passando para a Ilana o resultado do fórum. Obrigado.
Thank you. I think, Alana, you're just going to share some things when they're sent, but they're
Yeah,
more general.
I don't have other results from the forum, but I'm happy to pass on whatever Onofre can share. And I know that there was some sessions about education specifically at the forum, but I haven't heard anything about those results. So if there's more information that anyone else has, I'm also happy to hear it.
Okay, excellent. I'm just trying to figure out which other names.
Então, eu tenho como encaminhá-los. Vou encaminhar para a Ilana agora o resultado dos fórum. Obrigado.
Okay, thank you. Perfect. So I think there's just Samantha.
Okay. So Samantha, if you're there, we can't see you, but you can unmute and tell us about who you are and what organization, where you are, and your focus in short courses.
Buen día a todos. Bueno, mi nombre es Samantha y estoy representando a lo que es la Fundación CRE. Estamos en Bolivia. Nosotros tenemos un centro de educación superior virtual, es 100% virtual. Y estamos empezando como desde hace 3 años. Y nuestra misión es llegar a todo Bolivia, a comunidades alejadas y el centro, para que todos puedan beneficiarse de lo que es la educación.
Thank you, Samantha. So just to be clear, the program you were referencing, is it a short course or is it a diploma or a degree?
En español y portugués.
And my
En
question,
español y portugués. Los dos idiomas me salen.
and my question to you was, the translation called it a superior course. I didn't quite catch the example you were providing. Is it a executive education short course or is it a longer diploma or degree?
Es uno de educación más corta. Es un técnico superior. Dura de 3 años. Tenemos cursos que duran 3 años y otros que duran 6 meses.
Great, thank you. I'm just going to suggest, because this might be helpful to gather, that Sylvia and Alana could pull together. If anyone has any direct links to their short courses, the examples, like I'll just put our example. We have an actual page that lists what we consider our short courses, and the one I mentioned earlier, the summer school, isn't even there yet because we're trying to get the information prepared for it. But if anyone else has any examples, because we never have time on these calls to understand all the mechanics and the lengths and sort of figure out where we have similarities, it can be challenging. Sonia, your chance to speak up. Go ahead.
Hello. So since we are in the same place, same organization, you've heard from Karen what we are doing now, which is the new course we're developing. But as I'm listening to everybody, obviously the audience who is taking our courses is different across our institutions. And so I think David at Leuven has practitioners in mind, as do we. So our short courses are for people in the sector. This is not for your general students who are not familiar with cooperatives. This is for people who are in cooperatives, embedded, and we then have training in different topics in management, in the management sphere. So our short courses, as you will see in the link that Karen just gave you in the chat, are really from half a day to 3 days in person or virtual. So we do our master's degree and our diploma degrees always only online, but for short courses, we were actually partnering with the sector, with cooperatives, and we would do them in person. And so this is a different experience, and we really like to do it in person. But of course, during COVID, we were also doing those virtually. So even though our expertise is online, as I said, all of our courses are online, we decided to do on the ground with partners in face-to-face short executive education. The study tour exchanges, I think that's very exciting to actually see this group engaged, to organize visits to cooperatives in your area, right? Because we always have interest from our network to actually go on a trip to Brazil and see cooperatives in Brazil, right, in person, or visit Belgium and visit cooperatives, or visit different parts of the world, Malaysia. That would be fascinating. To organize tours of cooperatives in a different country. And there is a lot of interest in those kinds of experiences. So to me, that is one thing that maybe we can all engage in and try and figure out how to do, and then understand each other's needs for short course delivery. So I'll just say that in the executive education we always invite speakers from different places. And so that could be something, if you have an hour to invite somebody from a different part of the world to speak to the group you're, on a particular topic, that is another place to collaborate. And we do that quite a bit, but mostly with people from the sector. So that's all I'm going to say here. And please, Karen, prompt for other things if you can think of them.
Thanks, Sonia. I think that it helps, again, to figure out these different dimensions, to figure out if there's overlap and potential areas to work together, as Sonia flagged, our audience, our format, things that naturally go international, like study tours where you're bringing people together, the ability to try to identify what the topics are that we're teaching about, because it otherwise is impossible to try to match people from the consortium into providing content with each other. And we haven't said a lot about that in our introductions of what we might be doing, but I think that's a critical piece. So when we say we're doing a summer school on cooperative law, that's quite specific. Or if we're doing a course on, as we have developed and launched recently, specifically on intercooperation. So principle 6, cooperation among cooperatives, that you then start to say, what are the topics we're teaching about and to what audience and at what level? Again, another piece that comes to mind is we tend to think when we're doing our training about leaders in the cooperative sector, emerging or current leaders. It tends to be more management, leadership, governance, cooperative enterprise model. It isn't nuts and bolts technical training. It isn't how do you do customer service in a credit union. It is not that type of training that we're involved in when we do our courses. So it's starting to unpack and understand each other at those levels, those dimensions. I think it's necessary, otherwise we won't actually match. And we're diverse enough in the consortium as a whole. This is a small group of people for today's call, but that we don't all have to be the same, but we need to figure out who is like us so that we can match up and do things together. David, I see your hand. Go ahead.
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to respond to what Sonia was saying about like visiting cooperatives and so, and figure out on how you could do that. It's just that in our own postgraduate program, we have two practice days, I should say, one in the middle and one almost at the end. And it's just because it could be an example of, because what we do is that we have, for example, last year, contacted a cooperative, and it's sort of linked to what the people who were following the postgraduate, what they had seen quite recently in the course. For example, in the second module, we talked about governance and so, and we kind of made sure that on the practice day that followed that, we could reach a cooperative itself that was struggling with that aspect of governance and participation, and sort of. And what the nice thing is that, so we discussed this in preparation with the cooperative, so that we had a clear problem, and the people who were following the program, so they first got some theory about this, and afterwards on the practice day itself, they could meet and hear about the cooperative itself, then a bit more into depth about the problem they were struggling with. And then you get this nice, what I think a collective intelligence is that then everyone started thinking with and around that problem a bit from their own experience, from what they've seen, what they do in their work, also a bit from what they just learned in the course around the theory. And then you see lots of ideas coming up, which is also helpful for the practitioner, for the cooperative itself. Because they benefit from all that extra mind power, to say. So it's just an example. Maybe also when now I have the word, I also want to say, like, on the comment of that not every course should be on a higher educational level. We recently had sort of the opportunity that there was a day facilitated by the university, sort of on a children's university, where we ourselves, well, a couple of people from the team, created this tiny little workshop for children around the age of between 10 and 12 and so, and in a very playful way that they learned in 2 hours about what is a cooperative and how does that function. It's sort of like that you're not in competition, but you're supposed to work with each other. So we made this nice little game of where they could learn about that and practice that. So that could also be an idea for a small course.
Thank you, David.
You're welcome.
I always think that, you know, it might actually be more fun for the adults to do the type of course that you design for the kids. Sometimes we don't do enough play and, you know, that sort of creative piece when we approach sort of our professional education. Other questions for each other, or reactions or new thoughts from what was shared among the group? I know that we are a smaller group today, and it's the first group trying to put its arms around one piece: short courses, executive education, maybe short experiential education. We might add that to the twist when we're talking about study tours. Does that framing seem useful? Do you see going forward now? This was the first attempt to get a small group together. I am certain others interested in this topic, but to make these conversations worth having, you know, I think we need to make sure we have a description that fits together. So any advice or thoughts about what would make this worth you being part of, you know, beyond today, so that we can make the best use of these small groups within the consortium. Any thoughts? Because I'm really all about action somewhat on this, that we need to start doing things together more. We do have to take the time to get to know each other, to then know where we can do things together. So it sometimes feels slow at the beginning until we hear something and we can grab onto it and start to build things together. So I'm not a very patient person in my nature, but I know that I need to try to be patient at this point. But any of your thoughts in terms of making this worth our time, and or thoughts about how to make it more worthwhile as we move towards what we might do as next steps? I welcome any input.
I've got I just want to share. In 2018, Cooperative Institute of Malaysia, we were being offered by the ICAAP for us to run training courses for the leaders of cooperative societies leaders. 10 of them are from the African region, the parts of African. So 10 of the participants were being elected the leader of the cooperative, because we are helping them in order to give some knowledge for them to set up a cooperative. So they are looking for cooperative that is with members who will participate to build up the cooperative and also to run business of the cooperative. So we are giving them educations, meaning that training. They are in Malaysia. Since that time, it was not pandemic time. It's where we have this training and physical training, where they stay in Malaysia for 23 days, and then we design a program for them, for the cooperative societies leader, for them to observe. We have got 23 days. Meaning to say, the first week they are in Malaysia, we introduce them, meaning we run classes in class. We run the program in class for 1 week, and the other week we took them to the cooperative. We bring them to visit cooperative from the northern part of Malaysia until the south part of Malaysia. We went, I think, about 5 or 6 cooperatives. From there, we want them to observe that, to observe how to set up a cooperative and how cooperative could help the community as well. Not only the member, but the community as well, where there is a cooperative in the northern part, where their activities are on paddy. Yeah, they plant paddy. So the members are all, aging member. Yeah, I'm sure all over the world, cooperative are having this problem. Yeah, but cooperative is the major, how to say, for the members to, if they have problems, they need fertilizer, they need the seed for the paddy, they will go to the cooperative. Cooperative will help them, and cooperative also will be the middle person to distribute their to sell out their the paddy. That's where we will we educate them, and also we tell them, say that how members could contribute to the cooperative, on their activities of the cooperative. That's where and also there is another cooperative where they are doing on chicken, you see, the red chicken, and also on how to say, the sheep. So they educate the not the local, not the local people, but the people who stay further, further in the village. They are the one who will take care of the chicken, and how to say, the goats. They will take care of that goat to ensure that from small, and the goat become can be sell. You can sell the goats. So they ensure the cooperative could give them, when they take care of the goat and the chicken, they will pay. The cooperative will pay them. So they are answerable to the cooperative. So, and then the cooperative give them places to stay, so that they don't go elsewhere. So they are there. So, and if there is also a rules where in the family, they cannot have any criminal. They cannot have criminal records. If they have criminal records, they expel from become a member. So that's the cooperative. So one of the African participants told me, if in Africa, if you give them a cow, they will sell the cow. They will not take care of the cow. You see, that's how they see that how we educate, right? For the third world country, mostly that's where we our training is more on that. So when they get the, they can see the a few methods in our cooperative. We bring them first the cooperative on paddy. Secondly, where we bring them cooperative that have activities on corn. The corn, they transfer the corn, they turn the corn into syrup. So the activity of the cooperative is selling the syrup corn, the flavor of corn, to the village. So with that only, they can still survive, so, but a small community in the northern part of Malaysia. So we have that kind of program. After 23 days here in Malaysia, we fly them to Japan for 23 days more. The 10 hit the cooperative society leaders, we bring them to Japan. But to them, as the conclusions of this training, they told the Japanese coordinator told me that the program, they benefited in Malaysia rather than in Japan, because in Japan, they have high technology. They cannot take that, the technology from Japan to bring to their hometown. They only get the educations, meaning to say, as develop, they want to develop the cooperative, so they can get it from us. So that's where we have the 10 participants from African to run the training program. Besides that, we also run the Malaysian Technical Cooperative Program, where this program, we just, because of the pandemic, we cannot do it physical. So we do it online for 5 days. That program, it's for the third world country also, where every parts of in the world, there are participants from the Nigeria, from Niger, from Mauritius, from the Thailand, Vietnam, all over. They participate for our program, but it is online program. It's also, the courses is for certificate of cooperative in management and governance. We run 2 programs. Another is certificate of cooperative in microfinance. There are 2 programs that we run concurrently in the months of August, 23rd to 22nd to 27th. So it was run in August for the third world country. So we're doing training on that. So previously we have that courses not for 5 days because of this pandemic. So we run only 5 days. If not, we run for 3 weeks or 4 weeks. They will be in Malaysia, meaning to say the 2 weeks will do class activities, and another 2 weeks will bring them to visit cooperative. That is another way of the courses lah. But it is for the cooperative, for the Malaysian Technical Cooperative Program, it is been bought by the Malaysian government. So our participant last year, for this year online, we only have about 20 for one courses or 15 like that, because it's online. But if it is physical, then we have more participants. That is, I'm just sharing on the training that we run in Cooperative Institute of Malaysia.
Thank you. It's a lot to try to absorb when we're just hearing the details. I'm thinking ahead to how we take some of the dimensions we were speaking about, audience, format, content, and start to structure some of what we share, perhaps going forward in a way where we can, have that clarity. But again, if anyone, because all of these programs typically have detail behind them that is documented, if anyone has documentation to share or links to their websites that explain it, I think that might help us each to understand a bit better what we're doing. I see your hand, Alana, but I just want to acknowledge that Colin Bartholomew joined us a while ago during the last presenter's presentation. So Colin, if you're there, we can't see you, but I can see your name, just to say hello. We're probably nearing closer to the end as opposed to the beginning of this session. Feels like we might be heading towards wrap up. I don't think we need the next half hour to continue using all of our time necessarily, but Colin, did you want to say hello? Not seeing any unmuting happening. Alana, over to you.
I was just gonna add that I know there were a few people who weren't able to join us today who were interested, and more and more we're finding that the timing of the meetings is a challenge. Is being a global network, we have people who might want to join us in Asia Pacific that already in Malaysia it's 11 p.m. or so. In Australia it's even later. So there could be other members of the consortium that would want to add to this conversation. We are recording it, but I would suggest, in terms of practicality, maybe I know we've done lots of mappings and we've done surveys and we've done all that, and we're doing another survey with the first topic group on pedagogical resources, but it could be worth considering doing another short one just to understand who's doing short courses and who would be available to collaborate on this that wasn't present today. So I'm just gonna throw that out there as a possible action step after the meeting.
Sonia?
Carolina has her hand, so maybe she will, let her speak first, because I'll shift into something.
I was just going to ask that those of us who don't have the short courses, if you think that, Karen and Ilana, that this example that I gave, for example, we would like to receive students from other countries to maybe undergraduate students for the exchange programs for 6 months or 3 months. Do you think that this topic should be included in this group, or this would be a topic for another time or another group? I mean, undergraduate experiences. What do you think?
Well, if I may respond to this, I think it is very important to raise this question, because, for example, we in our center don't do that kind of programming, right? We don't deal with undergraduate students, but we are in a business school in which there is interest to collaborate and exchange or sign MOUs, memorandums of understanding, with universities in different places to actually have undergraduate business students go on exchanges. And so to me, this is very interesting, and I would like to follow up with you because if our students can be exposed to more cooperatives, which they don't get in the regular business program, I think that would be good. You throw a trip to Brazil as a hook, and maybe we can educate more of them. So I think it's really important to continue to talk about these options, because we are, again, in bigger institutions where I want to connect with you and put people here in touch who may be interested in exchanges.
Thanks,
Thank
Sonia.
you so much.
I would,
Yeah, and I
though,
had to.
can I just add to that before you go to the other
Oh,
topic?
yes. Yep.
I would say it is not this group, though, in terms of that topic, because it is quite different. However, I agree with Sonia that it's an important topic to bring into the consortium. So perhaps we, find a way to figure out how to fit that into a plenary discussion, or ask the question more generally out there so we can do some matchmaking. I just think the audience is different than the audience of this executive education short courses. So I wouldn't want to bring it into this lane, but I agree with Sonia. In our case, it may be with the rest of our university and not our center. So knowing about where there is interest and possibilities still is really helpful. And I suspect there's some that are kind of already doing it, and there will be easy opportunity to do it together. So thank you for raising that. So Sonia, back to you, because you're going to transition.
Yes, I wanted to address Dr. Onofre's suggestion that we need to meet in person. I totally agree. It is a different vibe when we can see each other and meet each other. And so we as a group, I think the broader IGBEC community needs to think about opportunities to meet around some events maybe that are of relevance to us all. And so one opportunity that comes to mind is there is the Innovation Summit, Cooperative Innovation Summit. This is going to be the fourth one, I think, but only second in person. And it will be in Montreal in September 2023. So it will be a 2-day symposium summit, Innovation Summit it's called. And if IGBEC members would want to meet in Montreal in Canada, it would be easy to organize 1 day of visits to Quebec's cooperatives. Montreal is rich with every type of co-op you can think of, and the social economy. So it would be really interesting to actually organize a tour of Quebec's cooperatives here maybe, and then participate in the Innovation Summit, and possibly some of you will contribute to their program. The organizer is the business school HEC in Montreal, and the Jean-Louis Bancel from the International Cooperative Alliance. So that's, so that would be one opportunity. And of course, we have research conferences every year, right? So those are always regional opportunities. The global one will be at Leuven in July. And so that might be another opportunity in July 2023 in Belgium. And as I said, Quebec in September. So 2 that come to mind. And I would love to hear from everybody as we keep going and talking about it, whether this is something of interest for 23.
Thank you, Sonia, for bringing that up, both with this subgroup, but I know that will come up at the full plenary, and it's really quite important to try to connect ourselves to other global gatherings and come at those from multiple vantage points to make the most of it. Is there anything else, a key comment that someone wants to make before we close off today's session? Or question or request? I mean, we have Alana and Sylvia here who are working behind the scenes too. So is there anything you need support with for this group or IGBEC more generally? Alana or Sylvia, any closing words?
Yeah, I was just going to add one more thing I was thinking about now is the first topic group that we had was the pedagogical resources for online education, which ties in to some extent with this group as well. It's something we can keep in mind because, you know, in that group, we're talking about the different online resources that are available, the different courses that are already being taught online. And if this group were to consider having, you know, trying to collaborate more on short courses internationally, online, it would be nice to do it in person as well, but, you know, also online, there could be some tie-ins with what the other group is doing in terms of gathering resources and trying to share best practices around online education. So I just wanted to let you guys know, because I believe you've all been following the plenaries, but if you're not, this is one of 3 subgroups that are happening in addition to our general ICBEC plenaries. So the 3 groups are pedagogical resources for online education, this one, the short courses and executive, and then one that has still yet to meet. We're going to be meeting on November 29th, I believe it is, but you should have all received the email. And that one's about evaluation being led by Fred Frunlich from Mondragon, from Lanke Institute. So just wanted to remind us that, you know, this is a specific topic, and I think it's really helpful to be able to focus in on one particular area, but it does then tie in with some of the other conversations that we're having. So I don't have more to say. I don't know, Karen, if you want to leave us with an action for next time, or an idea of when we might want to meet again, or how you want to proceed, or if you want to take some time to think about it and then we can get back to everybody with a plan via email, that's fine as well. But from my end, just thank you all for being here, and we'll send out the information that Onofre provided. I received them in photos of the slides, so I'll see if I can maybe put them in one document and send them to all of you. But from me, that's it. So thank you to Karen, and thank you to all the participants and the interpreters.
Yeah, in terms of an action, since you are doing a follow-up email, it might just be about asking folks again if they didn't, if you can compile what was shared in terms of the links in the chat, then that might be a prompt. If there is more information that anyone from this call can share back, that presumably you send it to everyone that registered, so we may be able to gather some information from those that weren't able to attend at the last minute. And then the question of, you know, I think the only way we'll make these better or go in the right direction is to hear specifically on what's most valuable. So being able to send that feedback or a specific request, if it's helpful, like we do in the plenary, to be able to have someone, a few people prepare to present on a specific example rather than just verbally sharing. That's why we tried to keep it brief today, because it doesn't always stick. Then we could structure some of the future ones around that. I also would say, in terms of, to me, the most important action, if you're part of ICBEC, is to take action to collaborate with other ICBEC members. So just on this topic, who can you collaborate with that you, if you hadn't been in the mode to think about it being collaborative in your short courses and your executive education, you know, who could you think to do that with, you know, as a next step, or reach out to? Because if we can start showing that we're connecting, for me, with the first rendition of this consortium, now almost a decade ago, it did result in us from our center working with institutions and individuals in this network that we wouldn't have otherwise partnered with. So unless we start doing that, we're never going to get any further. So that, to me, it seems easy, but I think Principle 6 applies to how we work together in our delivery of Principle 5, and we need to always be reminding ourselves of that and figuring out what we can do. So those are my words of inspiration, Alana, to close us off. And with that, thank you for taking the time to join today, whether it's very late for those in Malaysia or not quite so late for those of us in the north-south hemisphere section that we are in North America through down to those in Brazil, and it was Bolivia as well with Samantha. So excellent to see some faces and look forward to figuring out how we connect and collaborate going forward.
Thank you. I'm gonna stop the recording.
Thank you.